Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR Update 24 channel. I hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up before we dive into today's Young and the Restless update. Sharon gets on a call with Mariah's therapist to let her know what's going on. Nick applauds her for looking out for her girl. Sharon goes back in with Noah, and Nick calls his mother, asking her to put Victor on. Nicky says he's gone up to bed. Nick explains there are questions about Noah's accident, and fills her in on the detective and Sienna. Nick Sharon YNR Nick wants his father to look into the woman. Nicky will see that he gets on it in the morning. Things turn emotional as Nick talks about a tragedy happening to one of his kids again. Nick phone YNR, is Ian real? At the clinic, Mariah looks around the room, trying to figure out how Ian got there. Ward counsels her to open her eyes and see what's right in front of her. Mariah tells him he's not real. He's in hell where he belongs. Ian smirks. Ian YNR as they go back and forth. Mariah points out he is connected to every painful memory she has in life. Victor shot him, he's dead. Ian pontificates about miracles. Would you like to feel my heartbeat? Cringing, Mariah tells him not to touch her and grits. Leave. Now. He replies, like Tessa did? He embraces her dark side. That's why he's the only one in this world she can count on. Ward questions if she's shutting herself off from the world to protect herself or protect others from her. He wonders if he plays some small part in her current troubles and, turning sinister, declares, I am the entire guiding force behind your entire existence. Mariah tells him he's not even real and hides her eyes. When she looks again, she chirps, peekaboo. Ian sinister YNR as Ian pulls out the Queen of Hearts card, intact. Mariah gawps that Tessa had torn that in half. Ward insists he can help put her back together. She can't shut him out like he can everyone else. Not when he's a part of her. Ian keeps probing if he's the reason Mariah checked in there. Mariah pacing exclaims, I can't rid of you no matter what I do. He needles that she keeps him close in heart and mind. She tells him he's disgusting and evil. He mocks, and you're not. He reminds her she haunted Sharon. You're evil. Mariah shouts, No. I'm not. She'll never believe that. He thinks she already does. Mariah YNR Ian needles relentlessly and brings up her cutting out her wife and kid to live the life she wants. Mariah's sick of hearing his voice, but asks what he thinks she should do with her darkness. Ward urges her to let the boring mortals see her in all of her glory. How will she unleash the fire inside her on the world? Cackling, he realizes she's already taken action. Share with me. Mariah keeps telling Ian he doesn't exist, but admits it's about him. It's all about him. He's delighted. His return with Jordan messed with her head. She drank to get rid of him, but it never worked. The sickness he instilled in her squeezed everything else out. She couldn't be a wife and mother. And then there he was. She talks about the man in the hotel bar. He was an echo of Ian. There was the answer to erasing him from her brain and her life. Ian asks, What was your method? Mariah says she smiled back, laughed at his jokes, and even let him kiss her. When he invited her back to his room, she went. This was the solution. By erasing Ian's life, she could regain hers and get rid of the horror he'd instilled in her. How to deal? At the club, Tessa and Daniel make out on the stairway. Tessa pulls back, looks at him, and then kisses him some more. Eventually, she stammers, Oh God, I'm sorry. Daniel apologizes for letting that happen. She feels she's been drunk and stupid. He knows she needed a distraction. Tessa says it wasn't an accident. She's thought about kissing him before. It wasn't an accident. Daniel admits he's thought about kissing her too. Tessa Daniel YNR sitting. Daniel tells Tessa he never would have acted on it. Tessa questions if she made things weird by doing it. They laugh and admit they won't be able to put it out of their mind like it never happened. Nor will they be able to go to sleep. They'll clear their heads with a walk. AT Crimson Lights. Tessa worries she's thrown things off kilter, but Daniel is calm and kind. She's grateful. He admits his mind is doing backflips right now, so she urges him to trust her and to open up. Daniel nixes the idea. Tessa declares, Then I'll talk. She has feelings for him she can't explain, comfort, but also excitement. The feeling makes her float but also grounds her. She continues for a while and declares that he's truly her best friend. He gasps, "Tessa, I'm falling in love with you." Daniel, Tessa, Y and are regretting it instantly. Daniel jumps up to apologize and leave. Tessa tells him that in another timeline, she could fall in love with him too. Daniel, Tessa, coffee house, Y and R. Tessa asks if it helps Daniel, knowing she could love him too. He tells her this is the only timeline he has. Tessa doesn't know what will happen with Mariah, but she will fight for her marriage and her family. He's still important to her. Daniel wants to put the kiss aside, as well as what he said. Can we please just leave it in another timeline? Tessa strokes his face. Daniel, Tessa, where are the final scenes at Noah's bedside? Sharon and Nick reminisce over a funny memory of their son. Sharon suddenly tells Nick, "I've decided about Mariah." She has to stay there in case something happens. Sharon has faith that Mariah will get the help she needs. She's safe and protected. Sharon, Nick, Noah, Wine are back in the clinic. Ian asks how taking some man's life made her feel. Mariah says she covered his face with a pillow and stopped before the life left his body. She realized that by killing him, she would be giving Ian more power. "I would be giving you control." Ian mocks. "The devil made me do it." He declares she couldn't kill that man because she can't kill him. "The darkness that I've awakened in you lives on." Ian, Mariah, Weinar. Mariah insists she's not like Ward. She didn't take a life because she has human decency, compassion, and logic. She's in there because she has remorse. He tried to make her like him, but it didn't work. She will never be like him. Ian chuckles. If there's one thing he's learned, it's never say never. Mariah informs Ward that he won't break her. "You are nothing and no one, and I want you gone." She closes her eyes and opens them, and he's not there. But, alarmingly, the intact Queen of Hearts remains. Mariah had been working hard to reclaim her peace. After years of chaos, manipulation, and self-doubt, she had begun to believe she could finally breathe. But Ian Ward's return to Genoa City destroys that illusion overnight. He appears first as a whisper, a name on a police report, a fleeting shadow in the park, a voice on the phone that chills her to the bone. The man who once controlled and terrified her is back, and worse than ever. Mariah refuses to crumble. With Sharon's encouragement and Faith's support, she tries to convince herself Ian is nothing more than a ghost from the past. But when she receives an anonymous envelope with a photo of her and Arya at the park, with the words, "You can't protect what's already mine," scribbled across it, Mariah knows Ian isn't bluffing. Determined not to let fear consume her, she calls her wife, Tessa, who's been away performing at a benefit concert. The moment Tessa hears the tremor in Mariah's voice, she cuts her trip short. But what Mariah doesn't know is that Tessa is carrying a secret of her own, one that involves Daniel Romolotti Jr., and a kiss that neither of them expected or can forget. Daniel and Tessa, the moment that changed everything. It happened late one night after rehearsal. Tessa had been struggling with guilt over leaving Arya with Mariah during her tour. Daniel, still reeling from his emotional fallout with Heather, was trying to be a supportive friend. One shared drink turned into a late-night conversation about regret, love, and loneliness, and then a moment of weakness neither could explain. Their lips met. It wasn't passionate, it was desperate. A search for comfort, an instant of confusion. But once it happened, both pulled away in shock. "Daniel, we can't," Tessa whispered, trembling. "I know," he murmured, his heart pounding. I thought." "Don't," she interrupted. "We both have too much to lose." They swore to forget it ever happened. But Genoa City has never been kind to buried secrets. And when Ian Ward returns, he brings not only fear but a chance for exposure. Because Ian has always been a master at exploiting hidden truths, and he already knows about that kiss. Ian Ward's sinister return. Ian slips back into town under an alias, charming and cunning as ever. His time away has made him more dangerous. Now, he operates like a ghost, manipulating through whispers and cyber trails. He's fascinated by Mariah's success, her family, and especially her child. He sees Arya as the key to redemption, a twisted reflection of his old obsession with control. He begins leaving cryptic messages, pretending to be part of a new self-help movement. But his real target is clear, Mariah. Soon, strange things begin to happen. Arya's favorite toy disappears. Mariah's phone glitches, showing old photos of Ian's cult. A message flashes across her laptop. You can't silence destiny. Mariah takes the evidence to Sharon, who insists they contact Chance's Chancellor. But Chance has been stretched thin with new cases, and though he promises protection, Ian always stays one step ahead. It becomes clear Ian isn't acting alone. Someone in Genoa City may be helping him. Daniel's guilt and Tessa's silence. Meanwhile, Daniel tries to focus on his art projects and his daughter Lucy, but guilt gnaws at him. He can't stop thinking about that kiss, especially knowing how loyal Mariah has always been to Tessa. Tessa, too, feels torn. Every time she looks at Mariah, she sees trust, and it breaks her. When Mariah starts confiding in her about Ian, Tessa feels like she's living two lies, one of safety and one of betrayal. Daniel considers confessing to Lily, hoping she'll understand the emotional chaos he's trapped in. But before he can, Ian Ward's manipulation begins to tie all their fates together. Ian's new game and Mariah's breaking point. Ian starts targeting Mariah's friends and family, one by one. He sends anonymous tips to the police, framing people in subtle ways. Devon receives a cryptic email suggesting someone close to him is leaking company data. Sharon's coffee shop is vandalized with graffiti spelling "Faithless." It's all meant to isolate Mariah, to convince her she's cursed, that everyone around her is paying the price of her defiance. The final straw comes when Aria's nanny quits abruptly after receiving a threatening text. Mariah's hands shake as she reads it. Don't let the past raise your child. Let me. That night, Mariah breaks down. He's not going to stop, she sobs to Tessa. He's never going to let us live our lives. Tessa holds her, whispering promises of safety, but the secret between them festers. The longer it goes unspoken, the heavier it becomes. Daniel's desperation. Daniel, haunted by guilt and worried for Tessa's safety, starts his own investigation into Ian. Using his tech connections, he traces the emails and discovers a shocking link. One of Ian's shell accounts was created using a device previously registered to Stark Tech Industries, a company with old ties to Phyllis Summers' cyber work. Daniel confronts his mother, but Phyllis swears she has nothing to do with Ian. Do you really think I'd help that lunatic? She snaps. You should know better, Daniel. Still, Daniel suspects someone in her network, maybe someone from her darker projects, might be helping Ian operate unseen. As he digs deeper, he realizes that Ian's obsession isn't just about revenge. It's about legacy. Ian wants to rewrite his history by claiming Aria as part of his new family. When Daniel learns this, he rushes to warn Mariah. But his visit comes at the worst possible time. Secrets collide. Mariah is exhausted, barely holding it together. When Daniel shows up unannounced, her nerves are frayed. I know this sounds crazy, Daniel begins, but I think Ian's been using tech from someone connected to my mom's old company. He's planning something, and he might not be working alone. Mariah's face hardens. You're telling me that the man who kidnapped me once has allies now? Great. Just great. Before Daniel can explain further, Tessa walks in. The sight of them together stirs an emotional storm neither can control. Daniel, she says carefully, you shouldn't be here right now. Mariah looks between them confused. What's going on? Silence. Tessa's lips tremble. Daniel's eyes drop. And in that pause, Mariah feels something she hasn't felt in years, betrayal. Tessa, Mariah whispers, her voice cracking. It was a mistake, Tessa says quickly, tears in her eyes. One moment, it meant nothing. I swear to you, Mariah, it didn't mean anything. Mariah steps back as though struck. The fear Ian created in her now twists into rage. You kissed him. Tessa nods, sobbing. It was before Ian came back. I was lost, confused. But Mariah doesn't want to hear it. You promised me honesty, she chokes out. And now, when everything is falling apart, I find out the one person I trusted the most lied to me? Daniel tries to apologize, but Mariah storms out, shaking. Ian strikes again. While Mariah's world collapses, Ian makes his boldest move yet. He lures her to an abandoned warehouse with a text claiming Aria's stroller was found there. Mariah, panicked, rushes to the scene, only to find Ian waiting in the shadows. You never really escaped me, he says smoothly. You've been living in denial. But I can fix that. Mariah stands tall, her fear replaced by fury. You don't control me anymore, Ian. You never will. Ian smirks. You think love makes you strong. It doesn't. It makes you predictable. But just as he moves closer, sirens blare outside. Daniel, having tracked her phone, bursts in with Chance right behind him. A chaotic struggle follows. Ian lunges for Mariah, but Daniel tackles him, buying Chance enough time to cuff him. As Ian is dragged away, he looks back and sneers. You think this ends here? Genoa City always welcomes me home. Aftermath. Broken truths and uncertain futures. In the aftermath, Mariah sits in silence at crimson lights. The ordeal has left her shaken but not shattered. Tessa approaches, eyes red from crying. I don't expect forgiveness, Tessa whispers. But I need you to know you're my heart, Mariah. Always have been. Mariah sighs, voice trembling. I love you, Tessa. But love isn't supposed to hurt like this. I need time. Daniel watches from a distance, guilt written all over him. He knows his mistake has cost him dearly, not just with Tessa and Mariah, but with himself. He vows to make things right, starting with helping the police uncover who funded Ian's tech network. Phyllis later meets with Daniel, her expression uncharacteristically serious. You did the right thing helping Mariah, she says softly. But be careful. If Ian had backers, they're still out there, and they won't stop. A town forever changed. As night falls over Genoa City, peace seems to settle once more, but it's fragile. Mariah stands outside with Arya in her arms, looking at the stars. We're safe now, she whispers, though her voice quivers. Inside, Tessa watches from the window, unsure if she still belongs in that picture. And miles away, in a dimly lit cell, Ian Ward smirks. On the wall beside him, he's drawn a crude map of Genoa City and circles around 3 names: Mariah, Tessa, Daniel. His whisper echoes in the darkness. The story's not over yet.